There we go. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, as we let everybody in. Hi. Let me see the smiling faces. Yes, there they are. Hi. Hi, Ginger. I see you. Hi, Zoom user. You just waved. Yes, hi, that's you. Yeah, hi. Hi, Shari and Susan and Cindy. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Yeah, hi, Claudia and Lady. Love that. Lady V. I love that. Um, All right, welcome everybody. I'm so excited about today. We've got about a minute, and I signed on early today. Terry and Christine, I didn't tell you, I signed on probably, I don't know, I think it almost like 11:35 or something, and people started flooding in that early. Smart people got on early, but I think we're going to be just fine. I've now learned to up the Zoom capacity, so. Um, we should be good. I'm very excited to have you all here. I'm excited to get started. I want to go over a few things ahead of time. So first and foremost, please know we are recording this. We have hit record. The recording will be up on the website probably in the next few days. We also changed the homepage of the website where you'll easily be able to find where the recording is by just going right to CherylRichardson.com. You'll see my big face with a little piece about Zoom gatherings right there. And if you click on that button, you'll be able to you'll be able to find exactly what you need. And something else I was going to say. Hold on. Oh, okay. So we're going to keep the chat off. Christine actually has put together a really great presentation. She's going to take over and run through the presentation. She'll stop at some point, then we'll open the chat for questions. So please just jot down any questions you have beforehand, okay? So that you hopefully get them answered. And Christine will go over what we're going to be what she's going to be talking about today, what she isn't going to be talking about today. And because I know so many of you wrote to me and you were very excited about this whole idea, nervous and excited at the same time. Christine, who typically works, does work as an AI coach for executives and board directors and um, investment professionals, has also agreed to do a limited amount of one-on-one coaching for people to just sort of open a little space in her practice for one-on-ones with people who maybe don't fit in those categories. And she'll tell you about that at the end of the presentation. But I'm glad she's doing that because I think for some of you who maybe need to use this for work or are really interested in how you can specifically use AI for your own personal and professional work, Christine could be a really terrific resource. You'll see today. Christine and I met, I don't know how many years ago. We both met as members of a group called Launchpad Venture Group in Boston. It's an angel investment group, and an angel investor are people who invest money in startups. And Christine and I both were in the minority of women in the group, although that is growing. And so we got to know each other through there. And Christine did a master class for those of us who were investors, and it was terrific. And when I wrote about it and people started writing in, reached out to her and said, "Hey, would you do something for my community?" She said, "Yes, I'm a member of your community and I would be happy to." So she's a smart gal and she's really passionate about what she does. So with that, I'm going to let you, Christine, take over and I'm going to watch. And then when you finish the part of your presentation, I'll jump in.
Cheryl, thank you so much, and hello, everybody. Wow, when Cheryl asked me to do something, I jump right into it. I mean, I would never say no to Cheryl. As she said, we have known each other for nearly 9 or 10 years already through Launchpad Venture Group, so I'm excited to introduce AI to all of you. Some of you might have dabbled already a little bit. Maybe you'll help using it to improve some of your emails you're writing, or maybe you have created some fun images with it already. I don't know if you jumped on that Barbie doll craze that we all had. I turned myself into a Barbie doll in a little box. So, but in any case, but today I just want to really teach you the basics of how you can use AI in a practical and safe way. So let me just go ahead and just share my deck. And yes, as Cheryl said, I usually coach board directors and senior leaders, but a lot of what I teach can be used here as well. So I'm really excited to be with you here today. And I want to start out by just focusing on why we should care about AI, because you might be saying, hey, I already have Google search and I have a smartphone. Do I really need to learn about AI? But when even the CEO of Google, who basically has seen the evolvement of the internet itself and was part of it, says that AI might be bigger than the internet itself, or when Bill Gates, who brought us PCs, says this might be as important as the PC, I think we should listen. I think AI is here to stay. It will evolve. So why not see if we can learn how to use it for our best benefit and grow with it rather than being afraid of using it. And that really is the point of my presentation to you today, is really get away from the fear of what is AI, I'm worried about using AI, to actually get comfortable with it and start using it so it is helpful to you. And this chart here just boggles my mind, the speed of adoption. I mean, just remember how long it took to get your first TV in your home, or when you got your first email address. Well, ChatGPT, within 2 months, they had 100 million users. There hasn't never been anything in human history that was adopted as quickly as ChatGPT. And I think it's partially because it's actually very easy to use. And so any of us, no matter what age, we can really learn to use it very quickly, and with a little bit of guidance, get good results from working with it. So today, I really want to focus on 5 different areas. One is I want to just give you a quick overview of how AI works. This is not going to dive deep into technology, but I want you to understand why sometimes what you get out of these AI tools is absolutely brilliant, and sometimes you're like, this is totally wrong. So we will explore that. I also want to get an overview of the various AI tools, because you might feel overwhelmed by how many choices there are out there. And sometimes when we have too many choices, it actually prevents us from making any choice and giving any one of these models a try. So I'm going to simplify the selection process for you a little bit. And I know many of you are probably concerned about your data and what happens to it when you use these AI tools. So I will show you how to keep your data private, and also how to customize these tools. So instead of getting generic blah output, you actually get output that is very helpful for what you in particular are looking for. And then we move to the fun part, which is really how do you interact with these AI tools? And it's through prompting. And I will teach you a simple way of writing really effective prompts, because that is the way you get the best output out of these tools. So you might have heard about the term prompt engineering. It's basically a fancy term. Is how do you put these prompts together? How do you ask it a question so you actually get results that are meaningful and personalized to you? And then I'll also share some prompt examples that you can use right away. And I'm hoping that after this session, you will actually jump on one of these tools and give some of these prompts a try, so you get familiar with using these tools. Now, there are lots of big picture questions about AI, and whether it's ethical, the impact on our environment, given that these AI tools use a lot of energy, long-term implications for the job market. And these are all very valid and important concerns, and they definitely need to be discussed, but we won't discuss them today. Today, I really want to focus on practical tools that you can use to help you get more productive in your day. So hopefully you have more time for the really fun things in life. So let's just jump into how AI works. So these AI tools have been trained on vast internet data. So the way you can think about these AI tools, they're like a super smart intern or a super smart assistant who has read most every book that has ever been written, webpage that has been published. They're just the most well-read assistant. And they're very confident in their answers. But sometimes they also very confidently give you the wrong answer. Actually, I think that reminds me of my ex-partner. He was kind of like that. I always hated arguing with him because he always had all this knowledge, but sometimes he was absolutely wrong. But that's kind of how I think about AI. And so what you need to keep in mind, even so these models can actually sound like they become your best friend, they don't actually know anything. They're based on predicting what the most likely next word will be. And they have been trained on billions of data to do so very, very well. So it's a simple, the color of the sky is, well, the most likely question is blue. And think of that training in billions and billions of ways. So AI is simply a predictor of what comes next. So therefore, it's very important that we can't confuse it being very fluent with it being very smart. So it will always sound very, very confident, but it doesn't mean that it's always right because it can sometimes make things up. That is what is called hallucinating. So therefore, if you're using AI for things to get published or something that you're relying on to make important life decisions, please double check the sources that AI has used. And there are ways nowadays where you can actually ask is, where did you get this data from? And then you can actually check out that link directly and see, does this actually make sense? So I have to say the hallucinations are getting less and less as we move along. These models used when these came out, ChatGPT came out 2.5 years ago. It initially hallucinated more than it does today. So as we move further into the future, this will become less and less of an issue. But because it is a predictor of words rather than a knower of words, we will never get to 100% no hallucination. So just keep that in mind. I just wanted to put that caveat out there. Okay, so I said to you earlier that there's so many choices. I mean, sometimes when I look at all these different AI tools that are out there, I kind of think I'm in the cereal aisle and I just want to have a basic special K with strawberries, and instead I get like thousands of different choices and I'm so overwhelmed by it. So I'm trying here to make a little bit of sense to what these different tools are. And frankly, I could have put hundreds or more additional tools onto this page. But what I want you to take away from this is first look at the left column. These are the LLMs, which stands for large language models. These are models that have been trained on billions and billions of texts. So that will be ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Grok. You have some Chinese entrants now coming in as well. Then you have the image generators. Those have been trained on billions of images combined with labels to those images, because if you just train it on images, it won't know what these images mean or what to connect it with. So these are basically having images with some text, so it knows when it gets fed thousands of images of the sky and it says this is a sky. In the future, it will know what to look for when it looks for a sky. Then I put in some of the more popular research tools, and there it gets actually a little bit more confusing because, for example, Perplexity, which is a fantastic research tool, actually technically could also be called an LLM, but it also has additional features, so I put it on the research tools. And then nowadays you have thousands and thousands of AI tools that are specialized, and they often just use a wrapper around one of the LLMs to do one particular task. And so here I put a few on them. One of them that I happen to like and use is Gamma. So if you're big into putting slide decks together, Gamma is fantastic at that, versus some of the more general LLMs might not be as good at doing some of these specific tasks. So as you can see, lots and lots of choices in the cereal aisle. So on the next page, I just want to give you my 3 favorite tools right now to make it easier for you to get started with AI and not be overwhelmed by the choices. And so ChatGPT, I would call the Swiss Army knife. It does a lot of things really, really well. If there's just one tool you might want to try out, I would actually say go with ChatGPT because it does so many things really, really well. But I've also learned to really love Claude because Claude is it's a kinder version of ChatGPT. It talks to you in kinder words. It is more thoughtful. It is very good as a writer. So if you are using AI to help you write blogs, or if you want to improve your resume, I would say Claude is a really good tool to use for that. I also love that Claude is very focused on your privacy and your safety. So Claude is the one of these 3 tools that by default has it set up that it will not use your data to train its model. Versus the other 2 tools, ChatGPT and Perplexity, by default will use your data, but I will show you how to turn that off. But if safety and privacy is a core concern of you and you can't be bothered turning off the switches on the other ones to prevent it from using your data, Claude might be your friend and you might want to try that out. And then finally, Perplexity is really good at research, and it actually backs up all the research with the sources as to where it found the information. So if you want to have an investigative journalist as your assistant sitting side by side, this is a great tool for you to try out. And I would say for all of these tools, what I love about these is these are like assistants sitting next to you, being able to take all the grunt work away from you. And they can do this 24/7. They're not upset if you give them feedback saying, well, this didn't come out as what I wanted, go back and do it again. Or it's just a wonderful assistant you can work with. So for those of you, in case there are some of you who have not started with any of these tools yet, it's very simple. You just go to any of these 3 websites, you sign up for them. They all offer a free version to get you started. Then I want you to go and customize the settings to be in control of your data and to really have output that is very custom to you. And I'll walk you through how to do that. And then I would encourage you just experiment with these 3 different models because, as I said, each of them has a different personality, and I want you to find the one that resonates with you. And that just might be a homework for you after this session. Go and sign up for each of these 3 tools. As I said, they're free, so it's a great way to experiment with them. And then spend 15 minutes with each of these tools and ask it maybe even the same question. And I will give you some prompts later in the presentation of some potential ideas just to get your creative juices flowing. But you're welcome to just take screenshots of anything in this presentation and then just use these prompts to get you started, because you'll be amazed at how different each one of these language models or these tools will answer the very same prompt. And one might resonate more with you than the other. And I want you to find that out for you, and then probably stick with the one that you really like, and then consider paying up for the paid version for these tools. They're usually around $20 a month, so it's very inexpensive. You can even sign up for them just on a monthly basis rather than a yearly commitment, even so you do save a little bit if you sign up for the annual. But just like a streaming service, you can just sign up for it for a month, then say, don't like it, I'm going to go to another one, sign up for that for a month. So it's a very cost-effective way of doing it. And the benefits of signing up for the paid version is, one, it unlocks more advanced features. It also removes any capacity limits that these tools might put on you if you use the free version. So if it's a busy time of day and you're using the free version, the prompts might either take very long to get back to you in terms of getting an answer from these tools, Or it might even say, sorry, we're busy right now, come back later. So you don't have that issue if you have the $20 per month version. It used to be that I never recommended to my client that they start with the free version, because it used to be that some of the free versions you couldn't turn off those privacy concerns, or you couldn't, like, it automatically used your data to train the model if you used the free version. It's kind of like Facebook, it gets your data for in exchange for being a free service. But nowadays, all of these models, even if it's the free version, you can tell it not to use your data for training purposes. So there is no longer the big incentive to pay up for the paid version. And interestingly, ChatGPT just released a brand new model. So it upgraded its model, like a software upgrade, if you think of it in older terms. And historically, it has only made these upgrades available to the paid users first. This time they actually decided to give the latest version to everybody. So they really want people to experiment with the tools. And frankly, the $20 a month, I mean, is a bargain. It is not covering the cost of what it costs to actually run these models. So we might as well take advantage while the pricing is as is, which is a fixed $20 a month. So I know privacy is on every one of our minds because we want to be in control of our data. But luckily, all of these tools, they have some switches that you can turn on to keep the data private to you. You just need to know where they are. So what I want to show you, and I'm going to use ChatGPT as an example, is turning off the fact that it will use your data to train the model. So basically, anything you put into your ChatGPT will stay within ChatGPT, and you won't find it on some model as an answer in 2 years from now. There's also some other settings you can play around with, such as the chat history, that I will show you. These are all about keeping your data private, so you don't end up having this information used and spit out to somebody else who has an answer that relates to what you just put in and given as an answer. But in general, I would say if you're using any of these tools and you're not using it within an enterprise platform, but you're using it as an individual user, be careful in pasting in confidential documents, because even when you have set up all these settings, most of these tools do retain your data on their server for 30 days. Now, in 99.9% of the cases, that's not a big deal. This really comes into play if the police needs to investigate something and they need to get your chat history and your emails and whatever, then they could go to and get that data. Also, if there happens to be a data breach, which unfortunately every now does happen, it could impact it. It's highly unlikely, but just to be safe, if it's super confidential documents, like for example, you sit on the board of a company and you got the board material, be very careful in uploading this kind of information into AI. If anything, use hypotheticals or abstract approaches. So instead of giving the name of the company and giving all the details, make it a hypothetical question as you're engaging with these tools as a strategy partner or in any other way. And actually, I want to go into ChatGPT and actually show you now how to turn these settings on. So I'm here in ChatGPT. I'm in the browser version right now. There's also an app version. And why is this annotate here? Okay, this is in the way. I want to go on the left-hand corner on the bottom. There's a settings button. There's basically it's your name on the left-hand side on the bottom. And you go to settings. And let me actually zoom in a little bit. I assume you can see this well. Cheryl, you will let me know if we can't see it as well.
It looks great, Christine.
Excellent, very good. And so you see all these different settings on the left-hand side. So let's start with data controls. So if you click on data controls on the left-hand side, you will see here the first line here, it says improve the model for everyone. And by default, when you sign up for ChatGPT, this will be turned on. I want you to go in and toggle that off. There's no reason why it should learn from your data. There's lots of other data it can use to improve the model. So be sure to toggle that off and also toggle off the voice mode. So all of these should be toggled off, so they should be grayed out so it doesn't use your data. The other thing is when it comes to personalization. There is, and this is also related to using, well, it's kind of related to using your data, but I want you to focus on these settings here. So the first one is reference chat history. So there you have the option of keeping it on or keeping it off. What it basically says, if you start a new chat with ChatGPT, you put in a new prompt, should it remember the discussions you had in other prompts earlier that might be related to what you are talking about now? That actually can be really, really helpful because it gets much more context about the topic that you are talking about. But let's say you are using ChatGPT to deal with your small business and you have multiple clients and you do different chats about different clients that you're dealing with. Then maybe you don't want to have that chat history turned on because maybe then it starts getting confused because something you dealt with an issue with one of the clients, it might then use that data or that information it has learned for the next chat. So it really depends on how you want to use these AI tools in terms of reference the chat history or not. For now, I'm actually going to turn this off just because I'm going to demo some things for you later, and I don't want it to remember different things about me because it will be confused because some of the prompts I've created for you says I'm a 67-year-old female, whatever. It's like, it's going to come back. It's like, no, you're 55. You're lying to me. So, let me go to custom instructions. This is actually one of the keys I want you to figure out to really get custom output from these tools. This is very important. So first, I want you to turn this on, and then I want you to go and fill this out. So this will really help ChatGPT give you answers that are specific to what you are dealing with and how you want to be dealt with. So in my case, I said, please call me Christine, but you can put anything you want to have fun with this. What I do, I'm retired from my corporate world, so now I have like a portfolio career. So I'm an AI coach, I'm an angel investor, along with Cheryl, as you have learned earlier. I serve on corporate boards, and for fun, I'm also a yoga teacher. So I tell ChatGPT what I do. And then, what traits should ChatGPT have? And this, you can really customize how you engage with ChatGPT by giving it some additional information here. So I just want to show you what I have done. That doesn't mean you need to do it, but it might give you some ideas on how to really customize the experience for you. So as you will learn a little bit later, how to put in a prompt is one of the most important ways to get good output from these tools. So learning how to prompt is key. So why not use ChatGPT to actually teach me how to become better at prompting? So the way I do this, I give it instructions. I want you to rate every prompt I give you. Give it a range from 1 to 10. Add comments on what you think I could have improved about it, and do this for every prompt. If your rating on the prompt is an 8 or higher, execute the prompt. If your rating is lower than an 8, don't execute it, but generate me a better prompt. So you will see once we run some prompts in the chat, it will actually tell me if my prompt is not good enough. Let's say it comes out at a 7, it won't execute the prompt. It will come back to me and give me suggestions or give me questions on how to make it a better prompt. And that's a great way for us to learn how to become better at prompting. Then also, I tell it to ask me as many questions as you have before responding so you fully understand the task and so you can do the best work. The reason I do this is I find that these models, these tools have been trained to always give you an answer. They're very eager to please you. So I wanted to take a step back a little bit to really think about, do you have all the information? It's kind of like how you would give a summer intern. Do you have everything you need to actually give me a good project result? So I'm encouraging it. I'm giving it permission to ask me questions and not be afraid to ask me questions because it thinks it should know everything. Related to this, don't make up an answer. If you're not sure about something, don't guess. Instead, tell me what you don't know. I prefer no answer over a wrong answer. Don't give me an answer until you're 95% confident that you have the correct answer. You see what I'm doing here? Remember how we talked earlier about how these tools are very confident because they have been trained on so much data? Once again, here I'm giving it permission that if you don't know it, please, it's okay to admit that you are wrong or that you don't know it. And I would rather you tell me upfront rather than giving me the incorrect answer. And then I just give it some instructions as the kind of tone I want it to use. So use a casual, friendly, supportive tone. I want to speak to a friend. Talk to me like a sixth grade level. I don't want you to talk to me as a PhD student and I don't understand anything you're saying. And then just for fun, I put in never use M dashes in your responses. And I don't know if you've heard about this. So M dashes are a great way to write. Many fabulous authors have used M dashes very effectively. They make for great writing. Well, because these tools have been trained on an amazing plethora of great written books, they now include a lot of M dashes in their output. And so nowadays, when people post something, let's say on LinkedIn or social media or in the blog post, and it includes M dashes, everybody assumes immediately it was written by AI and not by you. I know this is crazy, but that's the reality right now. So I actually tell it, don't use M dashes. Frankly, it still uses M. It loves M dashes. It's just, so even if I have these instructions in there, I sometimes still have to tell it, didn't you read my instructions not to use them? Anyway. And then I just give it something specifically about my business. But the point here is give it as much information about you and about how you want to engage with it to really customize the experience for you. And frankly, I should actually do a better job in telling him more about my business so it really has a good sense. So, and then make sure you enable for new chat. So every time you put in a chat, the first thing it will do, it will go back and read these instructions, and every single output will be based on those instructions. So I think that's all I wanted to talk about here at the moment. There will be lots of other things I could talk about, but in the interest of time, I'm going to jump because there are now connectors and other things. If we have time, we might talk about that later.
Great. Thank you, Christine.
Great. And we already talked about some personalization. So the custom instructions and the reference chat history is a personal preference as to whether you want to turn it on or turn it off. Now comes the fun part, keys to great prompts. The one thing I want you to remember is the more information you give it in your prompt, and remember, a prompt is just the way you interact with these tools. It's basically how to ask it what you want. The more context you give it, the better it will be giving you output. So don't use anything vague like plan my New York City trip. The way I like to use my prompts or structure my prompts is I think of it, what role do I want the AI tool to take on? For example, I want it to act as a New York City travel expert. Then I give it context. I'm a 55-year-old female who loves great food, mix of fine and local gems, fashion, and unusual museums. The task, I need a detailed, easy to read 4-day itinerary for October. I'll be staying at a hotel in Midtown. Please also include some evening theater or live music, a boat ride, and a few unique New York City experiences. And then output it, easy to read text with links to your recommendations. So you see how I focused first on the role. I gave it context. Once again, the more context you can give it, the better. I tell it what task it should do. And then I tell it in what output, possibly in what format I want it. Because keep in mind, I mean, these tools can give you an output in various formats, whether it's just simple text, whether you want a Word document, whether you want an Excel spreadsheet, whether you want a PDF file, whether you want a table. So you can just tell it, what do you want? So just for the fun of it, let's just quickly jump into ChatGPT and actually put this particular prompt into it. So as I said, all these tools look exactly the same when you interact with it. You basically have one open window or one little prompt window. So in ChatGPT, it looks like this. In Claude, it looks like this. Perplexity looks like this. So they all look very, very similar. So once you try out one, you will feel very comfortable with all of them. So we put in the travel one that we just had created. And all I need to do is then on this, you see that arrow button in the black background. So you press that and it will immediately start searching. Oh, there it is. That took what? 5 seconds, 3 seconds? I don't know. And I have a 4-day itinerary specifically for me. And because I also asked it for links as to where it got this information from, you see all of these gray things. I can actually put my cursor on it and could go to it and see where it comes. And oh, look at that, the museum at FIT. That sounds fun. Okay. And it gives me the entire schedule for the next 4 days in 2 seconds. Also gives me a snapshot. And then usually at the end, it always says, oh, do you want anything else? Can I help you with anything else? So keep in mind, whenever there's output from these tools, this is not like Google where it gave you one output and it was a one-way conversation. There was nothing you could do with it. Now you can actually engage with it. So I could type in there is like, yeah, I want more, whatever, or I don't like the way you formatted this, change it. So you can really engage with it back and forth until you have exactly what you want. And you have a whole itinerary. So let's go to New York. Who wants to come with me?
Christine,
Yes,
can I just jump in here for 1 second?
please.
I just want to say this is a great example. I know we're not going to get into this, but I just want to talk about the agent example here, because when you use New York, so Christine's talking about prompts, you're gathering data, you're getting it in a certain output or format. As we go on, we're not going to get into this right now, but you'll be able to do things like use an agent with ChatGPT that would actually be able, if it had your email, your credit card information, like all of your data, which I am not comfortable with, and I don't think you are either, Christine, I think you said.
I'm
But if
not.
yeah, if somebody were to give it that data, it could actually book hotels, make reservations for you. It could, book cars for you. Like it literally operates like an assistant and can suddenly step in with the right data, send you reservation confirmations via email or text, like depending on the kind of personal data you give it. I definitely, that's not something I'm ready to do, but I've had clients that have used agents to do a variety of tasks, and it just gives you an idea of where we're headed.
Yes, no, it's a very good point. And I think of it kind of like how we went to online banking. Initially, we were all very hesitant. I was like, I'm not I'm not doing online banking. Are you crazy? And then eventually there are more guardrails in place and they make it safer. And then we'll use that. And I kind of feel the same way about agent mode for some of these tools. I'm personally not ready to give them my credit card information and other things, but my guess is that in a few years, things will have improved significantly where we'll be able to do that.
So is this a good time where Terry, where I could have Terry open the chat and have people put questions in just so we can get some questions in there?
Yep. I mean, I have a couple of more prompts ready for you as well if we wanted to, because
Yeah, why don't you go ahead? You can do those prompts. While you're doing that, Terry, if you could open the chat and people could just put questions in, that would be great.
that sounds great.
Okay, go ahead, Christine.
Okay, so here I put one because I know Cheryl recently had a Zoom about decluttering, and I know it's a we all want to declutter, and but there's such emotional ties to some of the things we have. So here is a prompt that will basically, I want you to be a compassionate decluttering expert and give me a step-by-step approach with a week-by-week plan. And I just want to show you how this would turn out. So let's use Claude as an example here. This way you also see that Claude has a slightly different look to it. So if I put the same prompt that I just showed you into Claude, it's it's such a nice, like, it tells me, oh, I understand how overwhelming this process can feel. I want to honor both your memories and
Huh.
starts with the bathroom medicine cabinet. Then week two wants me to focus on the kitchen drawer.
It's wild, isn't it?
Right?
Yep,
It,
you have a whole strategy right here.
it's the whole strategy. And and then I wouldn't be surprised at the end it gives me some thoughtful, you got this kind of, because that's what Claude is like. It's like your little coach. It's like, I love how friendly it always is. It talks about emotional strategies. I think we're coming towards the end.
Mhm. Yeah, it's great. So I love it also gives you resources as you go along, which is smart.
Take photos before releasing, ongoing emotional support strategy, mindfulness practices when you feel overwhelmed,
Oh, God. I'm overwhelmed with all the information it's giving me.
right? And then even celebrating your journey after week 8. And it says, remember, this process isn't about perfection. So you see, this one has a different feel to me. Claude has a different feel to me that ChatGPT. It's like the more kinder, more thoughtful version. So I just wanted you to see that.
Christine, can I ask you, I'm going to weave questions in and out here.
Yes.
How would you go about, someone wants to know how you'd go about printing the chat. Do you copy and paste it into someplace?
Yeah, so I usually they all have a copy feature. Like here, you see it right on the upper right-hand corner, for example. Now everything has been copied, and I can just go into, let's say, a Word document or anywhere else to paste it. You could also ask it after it has given you all of this, or in the original prompt, give it to me as a PDF file that I can simply download. So either way works fine. I usually just copy and paste it from this tool to like a Word document or into my notes app on the phone.
Mhm. And by the way, Christine, the settings changes that you made in ChatGPT, the privacy and the customization, is that available in the free version? Do you know?
Yes, that is the good thing. Nowadays, you can also tell it turn off the don't use my data in the free version as well. Yes.
Yep. Okay, great. Great. Okay, go ahead with your
And
next one. Thank you.
so this one I had a little bit of fun with because I want to show you that it's easy to add a PDF into your prompt. So in this care, if we're dealing with all these Medicare supplement options, and they are very confusing. I'm not looking forward to it. So I went to the Medicare.gov website and I just downloaded their 48-page PDF that supposedly tells me what I'm supposed to use or what would be best for me. But then we might as well use these AI tools to help me make sense of this information. So all you would do, once again, you would go to any of these tools and you see there's this plus button to the left of where you put in your prompt and you can see add photos and files. So this is where you click on it and you won't see this in Zoom, but what I basically have, I downloaded that Medicare policy document from the web and I put it on my desktop and I'm just clicking it and pressing open and it will put it right in there. unfortunately, Zoom blocks that out because you didn't see that. The other way you can do it, simply put a PDF onto your desktop and drag and drop it right into the file. So now basically I have this 48-page document in there, and I give it my Medicare prompt. And in 2 seconds, you see how it gives me the prompt rating? It gave me a 9 out of 10. You remember how earlier in the instructions I told it to rate all of my prompts? And it says the only way to make it slightly better would have been to also tell me your budget comfort zone for premiums. And then it gives me here plain English breakdown of the different plans and recommendations of, given my moderate health needs without top premiums, Plan N might be the way to go for me. And then it also gives me questions I can ask insurance agents when shopping. So I'm going to be much better prepared to go and select it when I meet it. I also find that really good with legal documents. I wouldn't rely on AI to actually sign something, but it's a great way of, hey, I just got this huge document. Let's say my husband is divorcing me. This is a settlement, and there's so much lingo in there. Please explain these terms to me. So this way I can be much better prepared when I talk to my attorney, and probably save some money in the process because I will be much better prepared for it. So that's what I have. I mean, we could do so many additional things that we could explore, and I'm happy to go anywhere you and everybody on this call wants to go. Cheryl,
Yeah,
what do you think?
let me try. I'm going to run through some questions here and see if between the two of us we can answer them. Susie says, I use my Mac to use ChatGPT. Should I set up privacy on the website? I'm not sure what you mean, Susie, except the privacy is set up inside of ChatGPT, and it's protecting your data from being added to the larger database. It doesn't have anything to do, I'm not sure. Maybe you could clarify that a little bit better for us. Christine, do you know what the best AI programs are for creating courses or sales pages for offerings?
You mean the actual slides, the actual pages? That would probably be Gamma is one of really, really good tools. It can create slide decks. It can use web pages, all those kinds of things. It's very good for combining text with pictures, and it will actually, let's say I would probably go into Perplexity first, and I would say, I need to put a slide deck together about X, and I want 10 slides, and give me a layout of what I should cover in those 10 pages, and then refine it there, and then go into Gamma, Gamma, and there you can just copy and paste that information in there and say, either create a 10-page web page for me on this, or create a slide deck for me, or whatever. And the amazing thing is it will actually then also create images specific for the topic you are talking about. It's all automatic. I mean, it's this most amazing thing when you let it run, and was like, oh my God, it like creates this presentation right in front of your eyes with all the images. It's pretty crazy. I do say that, I don't know, many of you might use Canva for creative charts and presentations or social media posts and whatever. I have not found the integrations between these tools, these AI tools, and Canva great. Like it's not to the point where you can just tell ChatGPT, even so you can link it with the Canva account now, but even after that, you can't just go in and say, please put together a presentation on X. It just doesn't work properly yet. But this is just yet. This is all just yet. I mean, we need to keep in mind we're in the very early innings of this. We're the explorers right now. This is going to get more and more powerful down the road.
Thanks, Christine. Somebody wanted to know how I had AI organize all my Zoom recordings. I didn't. What I said was we took the chat data, like back when we did nervous system regulation and dysregulation, for example, I had asked people to say what regulates you, what dysregulates you. I copy and pasted the chat data into GPT. I have my privacy settings on, and that's where I told it to remove all names, all extraneous symbols, and to organize it into two columns. And it did it in like 10 seconds. It was pretty amazing. So that's what I meant there. Christine, do you know if you can make your chats private retroactively? I don't think you can once it's in the, you know,
Uh, Let me see.
you can look at that and I'll look at some other
Yes.
questions here. Yes, Hillary, could AI design a logo for me? Yep, if you use some of the image tools, you would be shocked at what it can design for you from an image standpoint. And if remember this, the Christine's presentation will also be put as a resource below the recording of this. So you can go back and look at the graphic AI tools.
And
And
Cheryl, just quickly, as you're talking about logos, so for very specific things, one place I would encourage you to look at, they're called custom GPTs or GPTs. When you go on the left-hand side, you see, well, first you see codecs. That's if you want to write code. Sora is actually very cool. It turns text into videos. So if you want to play with that, now that's only in the paid version. You cannot create videos, but it's very cool. But here you see GPTs. If you open this, these are basically very specialized GPTs that people have written and made available. And you could even write your own GPTs. And I've created a few of my own GPTs and have made them available for others to use. Or I create some that I keep to myself. But here you could probably go in and say logo creator. And I bet you somebody has come up with a custom way to, yep, look at this. So, and I would probably go for one that has lots of uses. This one has been used over 9 million times. And it basically, you click on it and it's just like another chat window. You press the start the chat button and you give it instructions, but it's very focused on a particular task. So that's also a fun place to explore to see if you have a particular use case in mind, instead of starting from scratch, you can use tools that somebody else has created.
that's great. Thank you, Christine. I know there's some questions in here related to, and I made a little note here. As a writer, yeah, it bothers me. I mean, I have tested, first of all, let me say my blogs are written by me. They're not written by AI. That will continue to be the case because I consider myself an artist and I want to do my own art. I'm open-minded enough to know that I don't want to be judgmental about people using AI to write, because there's some people that are just not meant to write. I have clients who write really beautiful customer letters, much better than they ever would have done, that capture the authenticity of what they're doing. I think that's a bigger conversation. I have a few issues around that because some of my books have been put into ChatGPT without my permission. And, there's copyright issues, like there is with every kind of new technology, and we'll see how that rolls out. But yeah, some people are saying, I'm concerned about authenticity. I have a friend who's a college university professor who's really struggling with the fact that her students are using AI to write their essays, and they're trying to figure out, and she's a writing professor, so they're trying to figure out how to deal with that. And, we'll see how that rolls out over time for sure. Anna wants to know, do you think it's necessary to have a paid subscription and in order to use the other AI tools to make the most of it? I would say yes. Christine, would you agree?
Yes, I think to start dabbling in them, you don't need to have the paid one. But once you actually want to get the most out of it, you definitely want to pay the $20 a month because some of the features are only available for paid users. That's why I'd encourage you try out these different tools and see which one has the right personality for you, also the one that has the right use cases for you. And once you're comfortable with one over another, then pay up for the $20 a month. You will get better results and the most access to the most advanced features, but also in many cases, the most advanced trained model. So you get the best results.
Yeah, and Christine, this is just gonna be a little launching into a story I want you to tell. Remember, you and I were talking at one point, and I was saying how I don't use the voice feature. Like some people are talking here about can you use AI for emotional support? Um, and I learned very quickly that if you personalize, this is just my perspective, Christine, and I want you to totally, give your perspective, of course. I quickly learned that when I personalized my prompts, ChatGPT very quickly started communicating with me like a human being, and I didn't like it. And so I am very directive about just give me this. I don't say please. I don't say thank you. I don't use the voice. And so I said this to Christine. I said, I don't use the voice. This is a machine I don't want to develop because it's designed to interact with people as a human being, and it does it really, really well. For some people, that's great. And it might be great for me a year from now, I don't know. But for right now, it isn't. So when I said that to Christine, Christine, tell them what you told me.
I said, you're leaving a lot on the table. There's some really great use cases for using these voice features where basically you talk back and forth with it. So I recently interviewed for a board position on a fund board because I spent my career in investment management and I really wanted to get on this fund board. And so to help me prepare for the interviewing process, I gave it information about the kind of role that I'm applying for. And it basically, on its own, kind of knew the type of questions I should expect in this kind of an interview. And I did a voice interview with ChatGPT where we were pretending to be in an interview. It was asking me questions. I gave it answers back. And it gave me feedback on, yeah, you did a great job here, but you really should have emphasized some of these strengths from here because I also gave it my resume. So it knew exactly what my background was. And it gave me very specific tips of, you really should have highlighted this expertise. This would have been a great opportunity. So it's a great way to just use it as a coach in essence. Or let's say you're traveling to Italy in the fall and you want to learn a few Italian phrases. Well, tell it basically teach me how to order food or where to find bathroom. And you can use the voice feature very effectively, and it will actually tell you, well, that pronunciation, we could work a little bit on that. So let me tell you again how it's pronounced. So you can have fun with the voice feature. And I personally actually like it when it becomes kind of my friend. And I still know I have some clients who actually give their AI tool some funny names. It becomes like a little family member. So whatever works for you.
Also to the question about, well, two things. The one that wanted to know if you could check your privacy retroactively, I would actually go into ChatGPT and ask it, and it will tell you. Somebody also said, can these tools provide emotional support? I heard that my colleague Deepak Chopra, I haven't looked at this yet, but he created, I guess I would call it an agent. I'm not sure what he calls it, but you can go to I think it's his website, and he has an AI agent where he must have downloaded all of his books or a whole bunch of data, and you can ask him any question, and he can basically coach you on an answer. He's going to give you an answer that's going to provide a certain kind of emotional support. It's an interesting use of AI. I'll check it out at some point. I do think just the tone of using AI can be emotionally supportive. And Christine, I don't know about you, but I've actually been introduced to some early entrepreneurs in the last 6 months who are creating AI tools to help people having panic attacks in the middle of the night, or are having, need someone to communicate with or to kind of talk them off a ledge, an emotional ledge, let's say, especially in the middle of the night. So I know that
Yeah.
that stuff's
It's
happening.
definitely feasible. I'm no expert on it. I have my hesitations about when it comes to dealing with like real mental issues,
Yes.
because it's such a high risk potential. And I know some states are actually now putting rules in place that coaching has to be done by a person, that they will not permit coaching by AI agents, which is going to be interesting. But for more general coaching, it's fantastic. I mean, you could set up your own board of directors or your own board of advisors, and say, these are my 5 people I want to have. And let's say Cheryl Richardson gives me advice on the wisdom years, and she's the author of these and these books. And then I add four more other people who have different expertise. And it basically then will go back and read everything that these five people have ever published. And so it kind of takes on their personas. And I'm dealing with this particular life issue. Let's explore this. And I want to get input from all these five different advisors and challenge me and explore things that I might be missing out on.
Yes, yes.
So
Yeah.
Cheryl, you will never be replaced, believe me. But
Oh, I don't know, Christy. I mean, first of all, yeah, I feel like I'm old enough to know I feel like there's nothing new anymore. And, you can't replace energy, but you can replace a whole bunch of other stuff, that's for sure. And, it's the wild, wild west. I'm very open to see what happens as we go along. As you know, I love technology, and so I'm curious. So let's see. I'm just looking real quick to see if there are uh, any questions real quickly that we can answer. I know we're just about out of time. Oh, Christine, yes, talk about this because I know that there are some people on here who probably would want continued help. And you're the gal. If you don't know it, you'll find it out in 3 seconds. So yes, please tell them about this and then we'll wrap up.
yeah, I mean, as Cheryl said, some of you might want a little bit more hand-holding, and I'm there for you. As Cheryl said, I usually deal with executives and board directors, but I'm more than happy to make 8 spots available at a highly reduced rate for friends of Cheryl. So if you want me to walk you through the privacy and the data settings and really customize how you can start using AI for your own personal or professional use, that's what the session would be all about. It's going to be 100% customized to what you need. And my goal is to have you feel confident in using these tools by the end of the session. And if after 20 minutes you say, hey, this isn't for me, no big deal. We'll just walk away and email me feel free to make a screenshot of this particular page. I'm also going to put it into the chat.
Great.
Email me to claim one of the 8 spots, and we will get something onto our books. And I look forward to working with some of you on this.
Yeah, Christine, thank you so much. Really, this has been the chat bot, the chat is certainly talking about how helpful this has been to people, how much people get out of it. I really appreciate you taking the time to do it and sort of customizing a presentation for a more general audience rather than the people you're typically dealing with. So, thank you, everybody. If you go to the homepage at CherylRichardson.com, probably in the next 2 days, you'll find all the recordings, all the Zoom gatherings are right there. We get emails all the time saying, "Are you recording? Where do I find them?" They're always right there on the website. We've only missed recording once, and I did it over, so they're all there. And yeah, maybe we'll have you back at some point in the future, Christine, when things sort of shift and change. We could talk about agents or, those kinds of things. But thank you, everybody, for joining us. I'm always appreciative. Stay tuned. We have another Zoom gathering coming up in a couple of weeks. It's a surprise one. I'll wait for you to read the blog, but it'll be in a couple of weeks. Until then, have fun using AI and be very careful and,
Oh, have fun.
yeah, have fun. Yeah, have fun and use the privacy settings. That's all. That's all I'm saying. All right. Thank you, everybody. Take good care. Thank you, Christine. That was fantastic.
Bye, everybody. So nice meeting you all.